Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Love ya, Caleb here, and I want to make this video about, well, I suppose I'm not even sure how to phrase it, but I study countries a lot. I study a lot of different things about them. It's just something I like to do, and I try to plan for my future, and from a data standpoint, and from everything I've collected, information, it seems to me that Norway is the best country um, to live in now, to be a citizen of. Having said that, I have still never been in Norway, so I can't really talk about the subjective things like culture, nature, environment, um, food, these sort of things, people, how friendly people are, and so on and so forth. I haven't experienced these things firsthand, but in terms of economically, governmentally, um, safety, uh, uh, judicially, these things that can be measured more or less. It seems to me that Norway is the best country to live in and be um, a citizen of. Anyway, I'm Norwegian American, so I was pleased to hear that 'cause I feel like, I don't know, although, just because I'm born of an ethnicity, it's nothing to be proud of because it's not any sort of accomplishment that I did, but well, for whatever definition of pride you want to call that, I was happy to hear. I'll say that. So anyway, um, I had sort of a theory that the reason why Norway is the way it is it's one of the most, two things in terms of the people and uh, fairly high IQ, but also even more so, it is one of the most, that has the highest percentage of Protestant Christians in the country. And if you look at a lot of the other Scandinavian countries, it's very similar. I think possibly only Denmark has more. But in doing more research, I found that most of the people aren't, they're Protestant in name. And I find a lot of similarities with two large groups in America being, well, honestly, a lot of people who call themselves a religion in America, but the ones that I mostly encounter that don't really, a lot of them don't even believe in God, are Jewish people in America and Catholic people in America. And Protestants, there are plenty of people like that in America who are considered Protestant, um, or non-denominational, as I would call myself. Um, but it seems to be from data and polls that I've seen that in Scandinavian countries, it's far, far more like this for Protestants. And I've heard that, I forgot if it was Denmark or Norway, that people are sort of automatically signed up into the church sometimes, just upon birth. But anyway, I still, this may be what I would like to be the case, but, I would think that these principles, and I believe the main principle of Christianity, and I think you could talk to, yeah, Catholic might agree with me, most Protestants would probably agree with me, um, that the main thing of Christianity is, I'm going to just restart this video, is love, being loving. When Jesus was asked what the most important commandments were, he said, um, he said, all of the commandments are summed up, all of the laws are summed up in basically love, more or less, is what he said. And in researching Norwegian society, I see that there's a lot of help for people who can't help themselves. They try to be um, protective of the people who are doing well, while still trying to bring up the people who aren't doing well into that sort of upper echelon of society, which, or I should say middle class, because um, it would be considered upper echelon in many other countries is just middle class in Norway. But a lot of focus on mental health again is a big thing that I hear and that I think again is something that it is loving in that trying to help the people who are struggling internally, trying to struggle people who are trying to help people who are struggling externally, trying to help people in any way you can. And I've seen a lot of sort of anecdotal things, but people volunteering, people cleaning up parks, people just trying to be considerate. Um, and maybe one of the bigger things also is how low the corruption is. It's one of the least corrupt countries in the world. I was even talking with a Norwegian that was sort of surprised to hear that Americans view the government as the enemy generally, whereas Norwegians don't do so. They see it as something to help them. And someone might say, "Oh, this is the really pretty far connection for you to say that this is influenced by Christianity, the government." But the government, there's a great quote that says, "People get the government they deserve," and government is made up of people. So I do think it is a great reflection of the culture, the government. The government can have some influence on culture too, but uh, ultimately it's still made up of people, and people. Um, uh, Culture is made up of people. So these things are all very tightly strung together. I shouldn't say very tightly, but usually they have a lot of connection. So anyway, to kind of get to the point, I think that the Christian values and mostly just being loving for others is what has caused Norway to be such a wealthy country. A lot of countries could have taken the oil and just I don't know, done the money from oil and done a lot of dumb things with it, or been like selfish with it, but they chose to spread that money around. Um, and I think it's also, like I said, I may be biased, but I'm Christian because I'm Christian. But if you look at a country such as Qatar, which also gives some the money that it gets from oil industry to its citizens, a lot of money actually. I believe it's like the last time I checked, it was like 70,000 a year. I know in Islam also it's part of their religion to give to people. So I think there's some influence there with Islam. I could be wrong. But yeah, so kind of just basic summary. I know there are still some like people who profess to be Christian and believe in God and try to follow the Bible consciously in Norway, but it seems that the vast majority aren't that way, or at least the majority. Um, but I think that basically the influence of Christianity and these principles are what's keeping it one of the best countries in the world, if not the best. I think that happened to America when we were very much a country and very much a Christian country and very much a country influenced by Christianity, but there's been a real strong push against it and much more sort of Americans clinging on to hedonism. So I think that's been the biggest downfall of America, which is a very slow downfall. But anyway, end with a positive note. I hope things keep going well for Norway. And thank you very much for watching. God bless. Have a good one. If you would, like and comment and subscribe would be great. But if not, that's cool. Take care.